crazy week 3, guys. Crazy week 3. Just before we went on air, Connor, Jay, and myself were arguing. And I want to ask the viewers at home about this as well. So, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, or Jauan Jennings? Like, who are you taking? One game,
Close call.
Right, I mean, it's close, right?
Well, one big moment.
Right, one big moment, at their peak. All 3 at their peak, obviously.
Yeah, I'm taking them all over Ronnie Bell for the starters, which I didn't appreciate. As someone who has a lot of Niners bets, that Ronnie Bell let comically slip through his fingers like Matthew Berry impersonating a wide receiver.
Yeah.
That was tough. But no, Jauan Jennings, incredible performance. Great call from Connor as well, who, you had him over 45.5?
40, that was your best bet.
Yeah.
42.5 was the pickup line bet. You did take it.
I did take it.
So
I went home with Connor. Well. I went home with Connor and why don't you watch this? We have receipts. We brought receipts.
I'm going to go a little down the board here. Jauan Jennings, over 42.5 receiving yards. It's not a lot of people left in this offense. We don't expect Kittle to play. Ayuk is still getting his legs under him, but it'll be a big week for Ayuk. We know Debo's out. Jordan Mason does nothing in the pass game. He's not involved. He's had 1 catch each game the first 2 weeks. Jauan Jennings, when everybody looks pretty good in week 1, 5 for 64. He's gone 2 for 37. Jauan Jennings is somebody that should clear this number. I think he's talented enough, but he's filling in for a higher volume. 42.5 is, to me, surprisingly low.
That is surprisingly low to me as well. I like both these bets. I will place both these bets, but sorry, Jay, I'm going home with Connor once
again. Like Connor's more than mine. So.
Yeah. Even Jay liked your bet better than his own. And Jauan Jennings drinks for free. He drinks for free at the happy hour, honestly. I think he probably drinks for free in San Francisco as well. And honestly, anywhere that somebody has them on their fantasy team. I had one of those moments where me and my college roommate, we co-own a team. We've had a team together for 30 years. It's a fantasy league with all with my college buddies, and we have Amari Cooper on the team. It's a dynasty league, and so I was just like, I kind of feel like we should start Jauan Jennings over Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's been slow, and he's going to be covered by Banks and everything like that. And then Amari Cooper has 2 touchdowns, and I'm texting my roommate. I'm like, oh God, what do we do? I'm so sorry. But then Jauan Jennings got us off the hook. It was the right call all along. Thank you, Jauan Jennings. I love you. Yes. Yes, 1-5. Look at you, the greatest wide receiver that ever lived. Jerry Rice who? Randy Moss whatevs.
Debo Samuel getting his starting spot back?
No, they're going to release him. Come on, it's Jauan Jennings. It's his world. We just live in it. We did talk about this. All jokes aside, we talked about this on both Fantasy Football Pregame on Sunday morning. We talked about this a little bit Friday in the part of the clip that we didn't show. That this is a guy that should have been the Super Bowl MVP. That had the Niners won. He had an unbelievable Super Bowl, and he's somebody, Jay, that whenever he's gotten an opportunity, he's produced.
Exactly, and also I think a lot of it was about the matchup. This is a Rams defense that Kyler Murray, your man, put up a perfect passer rating against the week prior. Brock Purdy, I think quietly no one's talked about it because they're 1-2 and it hasn't been super loud, but I think Purdy's actually made strides as a player and passer this season. He looks incredible, and he was amazing yesterday, and he seems to have that connection with Jauan Jennings. I think Ayuk was there to take just enough attention off, and the Niners offense was amazing. It's still baffling that they contrived a way to lose this game.
I don't know how they lost that game. I don't know how they're the Ravens are 1-2, the Cowboys are 1-2. I'd still argue the 49ers being 1-2 is the most shocking 1-2 team in the NFL right now.
I still think the Niners are the best team in football.
I know, it's weird.
They're going to be fine, but they've banked these losses. I think they'll get right. They should beat the Patriots this week. They're 10.5-point favorites, and then they'll get. But they have a big game in Week 6 on the road to Seattle. If they don't have Debo and CMC for that game, all of a sudden they could be 3 games back from the division.
Yeah, I will just say this. I mean, so they play New England this week. Tough defense, though, that just got destroyed by the Jets. Then they're home to Arizona. So they 2 home games for the Niners as well. Then they're at Seattle. Then they're home to Kansas City. They need to win these next 2 because at Seattle is going to be a much tougher game than I think people thought when the season came out. And then home to the Chiefs is obviously home to the Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. I think just wrapping up the 49ers here, right? I mean, look, as long as Debo is out, Jauan Jennings is obviously an automatic start. My question to you is that did Jauan Jennings in this matchup, if Debo's back, did he show enough that he's earned a bigger role in this offense?
Why not at this point, right? Every time we see Jauan Jennings in an elevated role, he produces. So at what point is it okay? And they drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round.
That's what I was going to say. Like, do we see Ricky Pearsall at all this year?
No,
I mean, obviously he had
no way.
Right. I mean, he had
He's getting healthy.
he got shot and the whole thing. It was awful. But But my point is that even a healthy Ricky Pearsall, I don't know that he gets on the field the way Jennings is playing.
No way.
The other thing, too, is George Kittle wasn't out there, too,
correct.
so
Great
that
point.
complicates things, too. Look, I think Jauan Jennings, he's shown enough that he's going to be out there. He's going to play increased snaps, just relative to what the normal kind of alignment would be. But it's just there's a lot of guys. Also, Christian McCaffrey's going to come back at some point, and he takes a lot in the receiving game. So he's probably not going to be like, I don't think you're going to be able to start Jauan Jennings when you have Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, and McCaffrey out there. But
So I'll play that forward then. Okay, so, and we can talk about this more when we get there, but like, if Jauan Jennings is going to earn more snaps, and we're like, we don't think we can trust him in fantasy because there's so many mouths to feed, but like, are you better off trying to sell high, quote unquote, on Brandon Ayuk or Debo Samuel, because now you're looking at depressed target share for all of them because again, there are so many mouths to feed.
Yeah, I think so, potentially, particularly on Ayuk, because he's probably going to see Christian Gonzalez this coming week, who's shut down, or relatively shut down, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase this season already. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's bad news for Ayuk. I think he's the one who suffers the most because it looked like he was going to have this like month stretch where he was going to be potentially the number one.
He's been bad for 3 weeks.
And now it's just not happening for Ayuk.
You're right. I mean, I don't know that you can sell high because there's not really much to sell high on. Your
Reputation?
Reputation, yeah, in theory, but
Volume, kind of, but did that go away after what we just witnessed?
I don't know. I don't know, but to your point about Brock Purdy, 292 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, also 41 rushing yards. Purdy, once again, back as a QB1. Rams side of the ball here, guys. Kyron Williams. It feels like a long time ago when people were worried in the preseason about, well, Kyron Williams is Blake Corum's going to eat into it, and he's always hurt.
We never see Blake Corum. We don't even know if he's on the
he still on the
sidelines.
team, right?
We don't even know.
I don't
Nothing.
know.
Besides garbage time in week 2, we have not seen Blake Corum.
Yep. So I think at that point, like, you can cut Blake.
He
Corum.
had Blake Corum had a really good play. I don't know if you saw it, but like there was a point where Kyron Williams, I think it was after his second touchdown, he came off the sideline and Blake Corum went like that. He patted him on the shoulder.
So he is there.
Yeah,
he's there.
He had a good he was just like, hey, way to go. Like so, he was in the mix on the sideline there.
Yeah. Blake Corum
I mean, Ronnie Rivers got there before him, but he did.
Seems to go.
Yeah.
Blake Corum plays soccer now. LA Galaxy guy. He actually plays in defensive midfield for LA Galaxy. People haven't talked about this enough.
It was the Kyron Williams show. As listen, this is a Rams team that they're down a couple wide receivers right now, so the volume is there for Kyron Williams. 24 carries, 89 yards. He gets 2 touchdowns. He also caught 2 passes for 27 yards and another score. As you see that flip into the end zone, which Kyron was asked about after the game, and it was kind of a funny moment. Take a listen to Kyron after his massive, massive day and a shocking win against the 49ers.
That play was something I was waiting to get called. It's probably my favorite play in the install this week because, Coach McVay was going to give me an opportunity, go make plays in the pass game. And so when he called that play and I knew it was my number, and I was like, and I seen who was on me, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to go win this. And, I won to my leverage, beat the linebacker, and then seen the safety about ready to tackle my toes. I was like, screw it, I'm going to jump over him. Chip me a little bit, and I tried to do a flip. It didn't land it. I'm upset about that, but I promise you I'm better than that.
What more does it mean to win it on the ground when you need to?
Yeah, I mean, that was great. It's an even better feeling because, like I said, coming into this week, we know we had to change something. We know we had to not change, we had to be better at some stuff. And we came out here today, and we did exactly that. So I'm pleased with the guys up front, pleased with the guys in the offense and defense and special teams. I'm excited for next week.
Matthew, a lot of the combo going into this game was about the wide receiver usage. Demarcus Robinson, 91% of the snaps, 4 targets. Tutu Atwell, 74% of the snaps, 5 targets. But at the end of the day, this was the Kyron Williams show.
Yeah, I don't know that we learned anything from this game, unfortunately. I mean, other than Demarcus Robinson is in theory the guy you want. Atwell has I guess, the better day, played 74% of the snaps, 5 targets. I thought Jordan Whittington was going to become a thing. He did not in this game, 40%. But it was such a weird game. They got their asses kicked for so long, and you're like, all right, well, another loss for the Rams, and they kept creeping back. You're like, wait, they're still in this game? Oh, wait, hey, hang on, they're within a score.
Right.
I'm like, they just tied this thing. Wait, they're going to win this thing. Like, what?
It happened so fast.
I mean, it was just one of those, like, wait, what? And I don't know. I don't know. And it's weird because game script you think would have dictated throwing the ball a lot, Jay, but it didn't pan out that way.
That's the thing. I think that's the biggest takeaway is the fact they were losing the whole game, often by 2 scores, and still they had more rushing attempts than Matthew Stafford had passing attempts. So I think that probably tells you a little bit just about the state of the offensive line, perhaps, and that they don't want Stafford dropping back 40 times. So Kyron Williams is going to get a massive amount of volume.
They're at Chicago next week and then home to Green Bay. So 2 tough defenses before they have a bye. So I think probably for next week, we're just, again, at Chicago, that is a tough place to play. That is a tough defense. You're probably not you're not excited to start any Rams wide receiver next week until we get a little bit more clarity on how the distribution is going to go. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.